Hey friends, so this plant right here is probably growing in your driveway or any place your yard gets damp. It was brought over by Europeans because it is medicinal. It's antiseptic. I've used this many times when I've had a bite from a bug or a scratch somewhere that and I've been somewhere that I didn't have medicine right away. One camping trip I went on, see how big that leaf gets? Some of them are tiny. This one's really well grown, so I thought I'd use it for my video. I was on a camping trip, got a cut on the bottom of my foot, and all I had with me was to wear were sandals. I'd been going barefoot because I was on private property that there hadn't been any glass or anything, you know, in public grounds or any place where people hang out a lot. They'll break glass. They don't care, you know. Only takes one asshole, you know. I didn't even keep my feet clean. I plucked these about twice a day and put them in my sandal and walked on them all day. That cut was on the bottom of my foot, dirty sandals, for 10 days. It was probably actually like 6 of those 10 days. No infection. So, you got that growing, you got medicine. I wanted to take you through this square spiral garden. Just an update. Wild grape's doing really well. Peppers are surviving. I just don't seem to be much of a pepper mama. This girl is at least flowering. Isn't that pretty? Oh, we got one little cayenne there. This one's just barely hanging on. But I've got lettuce in there. This plant is the Klondike Cosmos. It seeds pretty freely and it grows very tall, like 8-12 feet tall. So it shows up all over my garden because I've had it for about 3-4 years now. So pretty tickled to see it. And then other places, nope, it's a weed and I have to take it out. It makes me sad. There's some trees I took down. There's a mullein. The Artemisia is about done blooming. This guy had bumblebees all over him last week, videos. The apple's doing really nicely. I don't see hardly any of the red spots. I don't think that even is a red spot from the disease, what do you call it? Well, there's some. But when it blooms, I don't know if it's going to bloom this year, but when it does, I'll have to spray it with the copper sulfide. Yarrow, kind of past its peak now. Some of it's still pretty fresh. We're only a couple weeks out from the summer solstice, and that's when we will start harvesting a lot of these herbs. That's their peak efficacy. The taro is coming up. Wee Pond is looking kind of sad. I debate cleaning it out. The one time that I did clean it out, I accidentally cleaned out some fish that I thought had perished. So, oh well, gosh, look right there. There's a itty bitty frog. I didn't think I had any frogs, so I might just refill it because it's down about 1 inch. Ta-da! My favorite flower is blooming just in time for my birthday on Wednesday. Here's the other apple. That's the Cortland. The other one is an Arkansas black. Oh my God, I'm just going to look at it again. Look. Make me happy. Mugwort is it's starting to bolt. See that one there that's larger? That's good. We'll be harvesting that. Mulberry, I have decided I want to move this mulberry, but I don't know where I need to move it. I just realized that planting it here is too small of a space. I did not know that they were going to grow so fast, and I suspect they're going to be very large trees. I need to look that up again. I thought that they were small trees.
Here's more of the Cosmos.
So I'm gonna let that grow up there. There's some milkweed, or not a milkweed, but another plant that the monarch likes. Here's my salvia that I got from a neighbor. It's very pretty. It's not medicinal salvia, I think it's just pretty. Check out these flowers. Allium flowers, that's the garlic. They're getting close to time to harvest. So the rows that I put in here, I'm not seeing anything coming up just yet. I mean, I'm seeing, well, I don't know. See, that's not in the row, but maybe that is what I planted here, and it was the calendula, I think. But I'm gonna need to bring the hoe out here and take these guys out. No, I have not used the sprinkler. I planted Hopi red here, and check it out. Hopi red. Just starting to come up, just barely. It's an amaranth, and it's a dye plant. So it should get very tall. More of the black-eyed Susans, or maybe they're brown-eyed Susans. I don't care. I think they're just the happiest things ever. I threw in some old lettuce seeds over here. It's in the shade of the elderberry, which is a little bit past its prime now. It's losing its flowers all over the place. It's still gorgeous. Look at that. Look at that. The thing is the size of my hand. Here's where I tried the Chinese celery. And like with the other place I planted it, I'm seeing nothing. We are in Tennessee, and it was supposed to be a celery that did okay in southern climates. I'm not seeing it. Maybe southern, they mean like Indiana or something. This is the buckwheat. That makes me happy. The buckwheat's coming up. Now, I think I put more of the chestnut over here. Or not, I keep calling it chestnut. It's not. It's not water chestnut. It's celery. Why do I keep calling it that? Chinese celery. Oh, and this is where I planted my kitty cat. This is where my kitty cat is a good kitty. She's a good kitty. She's a little mess pot. So I had this trellis in a different spot last year, and the purpose it served was to be a horizontal trellis for the watermelon. And it just occurred to me that last year I put blocks, wooden logs underneath it so that to keep it up off the ground. See how it's bowing? And I still have those logs. I need to go bring them over here. Here's our other hazelnut. It's leaning towards the pathway. So I'm going to probably this winter trim it, prune it back, and try to get it to move out that direction. So here's where I planted the watermelon. So it should grow. I'll get it to grow this way. It's going to want to grow towards the sun because that way south. So I'll need to train it this way onto that trellis. Now those seeds were from last year, and I thought, well, I better double up on them. How vital is that? How incredible. Every one of those seeds sprouted. Okay, that one, only one survived. But yeah, those seeds survived from 2 years ago. So it is a miniature watermelon, and I think the problem I had last year, they were just baseball sized. I got 2 of them, they were baseball sized. It was kind of ridiculous. Here's our wild lettuce starting to bloom. Isn't that crazy? This is when I was telling you I was gonna cut it out, and then I saw the birds all just loved it. There's serviceberry. There's another flower. I'm a sucker. And this is our Monarda Bee Balm. I don't know what that is. It's intriguing me, so I haven't cut it down yet. I threw in a bunch of sunflowers over here that came from a memorial for a friend of mine. I'm hoping that they sprout. I didn't do anything for them except toss them. Oh, this is a big mess. Let's just go on through. the raspberry is doing all right. I am not afraid to show people my failures. I have failed to take care of that part of the garden. Serviceberry, looking okay. It's a relative of apple, so I have been spraying it with, well, see, it has still got some of the disease, the rust, but I'm keeping an eye on it. Here's my oldest asparagus plant and my other oldest asparagus plant. Come here, you. So one of them is really thriving, one of them's not. They're in the same part of the garden. I don't know what's going on with why one's doing better. They're both kind of shaded, but I brought those from my old house. All right, blueberries. This is the Solidago, also known as goldenrod. It's growing on the western end of the garden. So, ripe blueberries. I'm coming back for you later. Cannas. There's the little blueberry. For some reason, this guy, I guess he gets shaded too much, and I'm gonna have to come back and cut down those guys, but because he's getting too much shade. But he still managed to produce some. I'm gonna cut those back. I've already cut down several. Here's our oregano. I actually have gotten a couple of nasturtiums come up. I planted 5. 1 came up. I'm glad for that one. Rosemary's doing good. Here's another one of the wild lettuce. Oregano's going to seed. Mint is doing real nicely through here. Squash. That's the African squash. It's all bumpy and pretty orange and green. That's the spent strawberry patch. Check out my coneflowers. Coneflower magic. All right, I did a little hoe work this morning over here. Not in this spot because, again, this is more of the cosmos. So this spot, they will utterly dominate. See, there's the garlic we passed earlier. But here's where I first planted the Hopi red. So it's coming up. So that's a success. Now this is the first place I planted the buckwheat, and it's coming in real nicely. I don't know how to harvest buckwheat. This is my first try with it, so we'll see what it does. I planted lettuce leaf basil over here. It has done absolutely nothing. Not a single one has come up. I planted poppies over here. It was my second try for planting poppies. Nothing. Not a single one. Now this morning I did a video in this spot here. That's where I put in some basil, Genovese basil, that I had grown in little pots, and bragging on my grapes. I'm gonna switch over this way. Those are the runner beans. They're doing all right. And I planted loofah, about 5 loofah. Looks like 2 of them have come up. Planted one over there. It hasn't done anything. Here's where I planted the other 2 basil, in with the marigolds. Other basils that I planted here in the ground, nothing. There's some more of that gourd. Lettuce is doing pretty good. I'm protecting it with cat hair when I brush my cat. I'm waiting for it to bolt and go to seed so that I can collect the seeds for next year, or for this autumn probably. It has not bolted yet. I don't know, I might come out here and get some for lunch. This is the arugula. The arugula is doing well. The sorrel did not. Nothing came up except grass. Here's 2 more of my nasturtium. You can see where I hoed this morning in between the rows, trying to get the grass up. The grass is pretty aggressive. Go to the center of the garden. More buckwheat. This is some of the first buckwheat that I planted. Oh, that's a volunteer zinnia. Awesome. Here's our tansy doing real nicely. Oh, look, there's the kitty cat again. The daisies are pretty much spent, but they're still giving it a try. And just past the daisies are the gladioli. And they're getting ready to bloom. Look at those flower swords coming up. Yeah, so I'm tickled with the buckwheat. It's succeeding. That makes me happy. Here's where I planted it's not a marigold. I planted Mexican safflower here and over there. And I'm seeing absolutely nothing. Not a single one. It's supposed to do really well in hot and dry. Maybe I watered it too heavily because I watered it in, and then the next day I watered it watered the whole garden. I don't know. I plucked one of the less mature flowers yesterday and used it in some eggs. More flowers. Let's check on the tomatoes and Inky, and then we'll be done here. Isn't that nice? Look at that tomato with the flowers. This guy's even bigger. I don't remember planting gourds or cucumbers here, but they're coming up. I'm gonna have to pull up these Cosmos because I don't want them growing here. It always makes me sad to pull up pretty flowers, but they will. One of them grew real well here last year, and it seeded freely. Now I could, if I wanted to, dig some of those up and put them in pots and give them away. Obviously, there's plenty. I can do that with them. But yeah, little flowers. These should be cherry tomatoes. So yeah, here's where I planted more of the Mexican. That's the wild something or other. And maybe that's one. Maybe, I think. I'm not seeing any others. Inky, however, is doing glorious. Look at him. He's got flowers. We loves Inky. All right, let's pan so you can see how the garden's growing. Elderberry coming up in 3, 2, 1. Whoa! Grapevine, lots of grapes. And back to Inky. All right, y'all. Thanks for coming with me on this longer than usual tour. Look at the wasps on my maypop. Wonder if they're building something in there. Oh well. Be well. Hit me up with questions and suggestions. Until next time.